Okay, so I'm thinking about making a small length mountain here just to add some interest. I don't know if I'm going to really go through with this or not. I've made a foam mock-up here just to see if I like the size of it. Right now I can see it's covering much of my backdrop with the trees that I painted. But I got this what I call Big Bend here, and I really like being down here and seeing the train come at you around that curve with slight super elevation. And so I'm thinking maybe I can do a little bit of a scenic break by leaving the yard, coming into this area here to Big Bend, and break it up by having that short mountain. I already have the Can't See Industries leg there, where I usually pull my log cars out of as if they've come from another part of the world out onto the layout. And so to add to that tunnel face right there, I was thinking possibly I could put another part of that scenery into a piece of a whole mountain here. But I think what I'm going to have to do, just looking at it now, is these mock-ups are just to give me an idea of what might be possible. I think definitely if I decide to do this, I'm going to have to cut the height of these down so that I can build landforms up and not get any higher in elevation than what you see right here, because we got clouds right there. I got a fairly short backdrop, and so I don't want to cover a lot of stuff up, but I do want to add some interest. Like I say, I also like the idea of maybe having a scene break by coming into that portal and coming out at the other side. My one big problem I'm going to have is the distance between this industrial delivery leg and Big Bend curve. I'm definitely gonna have to scratch build, kit bash a depot, because this is what I call Evergreen Depot. And so I only got a very limited space behind that existing building and the track. And there's got to be a certain amount of thickness, millage, if you will, between the mountain and the track, so you don't scuff on the inside. And you do want to make it a little bit believable with a contour. I don't want a sheer cliff face. So as part of my dilemma that I'm up against, I've taken some blue foam and I've just kind of laid it behind that super elevated curve a little bit so that I can transition from the scenery stuff that I did yesterday up into this area here. And as I say, this is just a rough mock-up. What I'm about to do next is where I've drawn that tunnel portal. I have a hot wire knife that I'm going to cut that portal, and behind this building I'll probably have to maybe do like a cardboard lattice, and then put some plaster cloth over top of that to give it some form. And the same with the top of this. As I cut it down, then I can do some of that cardboard lattice and the plaster cloth to give it some shape. So let me cut this loose. I'll cut that portal, and we'll see what it looks like at that point. Okay, so I decided I would try to show the cut with the hot wire knife. Let me see, get it in the frame. Here it is, by Woodland Scenics. It is brand new out of the package. I've never used this before. It's hooked up. It's all wired, ready to go. So let's give it a try. it says here you depress this yellow button and that makes heat. And so let's see just how it works. Go nice and slow so you don't snap the wire, but you don't go too slow that you end up with a problem. There we go. Put this wire back on this metal grate. Cut this out of there. Okay, and I got a little big up in there, but this basically gives me an idea of the tunnel portal, and I've got a track gauge that I use for HO to give me the dimensions of the opening. So let me shut this off. We'll put it in place and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so we're back, and there's that little piece of foam in place with the opening. Let me just get a train car and kind of roll it through there a little bit just to see how it fits. Okay, so let's just push this through a little bit and see what we got. Okay, it fits through good. Now, I do notice, for my liking, I think it's a little tight here. So I can either pull this forward a little bit. Yeah, can do that. Or I can make the opening just a little wider. We'll see what I prefer to do. And maybe we'll start mocking up some stuff behind this building. I'm thinking some cardboard lattice. It's thin, either that or I might use some, maybe some 1/8" foam core, and I'll tape it in place because it is a curve. I'll kind of tape the stuff in place, and I gotta always bear in mind that whatever I put there, I'm gonna be building on top of that with the plaster and plaster cloth and all like that. So let me shut this off. Let me play a little more with the hot knife on the height of this, and of course on here also. Now that opening there, I cut with one of these loofah knife, and of course I'm going to be doing landscaping, so I can fix that. And at least at the very beginning of that portal, and maybe a little bit in here, I'm going to have a tunnel liner, but it won't have to go all the way through because you'll never see it. The other thing I'm going to do with this entire mountain area is I am going to put this together and make it so the whole thing can lift up. It's not going to be attached permanently. I'll probably take some wax paper and hang it on the backdrop down to the track level, so that when I'm doing my plaster and landscape and stuff, I'll be able to landscape right up to the backdrop but not have it stick to it. I want to try to keep this as lightweight as possible, so I can just be able to take it in one shot, nice and easy, out of the way, so I can clean track and whatever, or a derailed car. So I'll shut this off. I'll play a little more with the hot knife, and we'll see what kind of landform we come up with. Okay, we're back just to show some intermediate progress. That top piece there is just trying to give me an idea of the height now that it is cut down a little bit. I did open up that portal a little. I did really want to have a little more angle. I could probably do it with the plaster cloth and landscaping material, plaster and stuff. I want a little more angle so it shows like that's the peak and it kind of comes down into nothing, see? So that does have a bit of a slope. I don't really want to go any more uh, shallow on this opening to the top, and I don't really want to go very much taller there, but I'm gonna have to with the plaster cloth, I guess, and the mold, just so I got a little bit of an angle, and let your brain fill in the blanks. Alrighty, so we'll come back in a little bit again. Okay folks, I wanted to share a product that I'm using for the bend, the inside curve of the tunnel portal. This here is called, let me get a shine out of it, Ghost Line Foam Board. And it's got nice millage. It says here that it's half inch, 3/16 thick. The ghost lines, let me see if I can get it on there. You can just see it there, okay, in the right light. The squares are 1/2 inch squares. And what's nice about this here is I want to make a curve on the inside of that tunnel portal for like a liner. And so I used the ghost lines, and it was very easy just to take your ruler and just get nice straight lines and square cuts. So I'm going to cut these up, and we're just going to kind of accordion those on the inside of the curve. So let me take care of that, and we'll come back and show you that. Okay, so as you can see, I cut out my foam board, and when I turn at different angles you can see the squares. I used every other one for a pen mark, and then I decided to just freehand in between those, so they're 1/2 inch lines and 1/2 inch cuts. And I didn't go all the way through, because what I'm hoping, we're going to find live, I can make a bend. Look at that. Okay, good. So I'll bend that, and it may turn out, you know, a dice throw, whether or not this will work better than cardboard lattice. We'll find out. So this is square, so I want a slight pitch. So we will put this in place, and I'll make a pen scribe where I want the low point, and then we'll just cut that on an angle. So let's put that in place. Oh, look at that, folks. After I snapped the scores, look how tight it rolled. So I'm not going to have any problem making the contour that I want with this. So let's put it in place and see. Okay, so we got the foam core in place. What I did was I used some of these T-pins behind it to kind of set the curve, and it made a nice smooth transition. You can see that the top piece is on, showing me a little bit of angle. I can just take the plaster cloth and bridge it. I'm not going to have to cut this at any sort of an angle. So now the big question, let's take this little top piece off temporarily, and let's roll a train car through here and see if it scuffs. Look at that. Great, great. So I do have clearance behind the building. And like, as I say, this is just a stand-in. I'm gonna custom make my little depot warehouse that I want, and put this back on just temporarily. You can see a little bit of an angle, which I like. And so the mountain will come from that corner down and continue sloping down basically to ground level. So that's where I'm gonna end this at this point. I'll start adhering some pieces together, and as you can tell, as Boomer says on his channel, being he comes from a background of theater set design, this is all wild. So it's not there permanent. It's a temporary. It's going to be able to lift out in one piece after the fact. So let me turn it off for now and show you the next little bit of progress.